What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be analyzing a piece of audio. I'm also going to be doing something that can pass as audio forensics, maybe. I'm not an expert, but I've been looking at this file and I've come to notice some things that aren't necessarily talked about or on the wiki. There's a number of clues here that can lead to, I don't know, something. The file is named 761.mp3, and it's also known as the Instar Emergence file. This is a piece of music released by Cicada 3301, and Cicada 3301 is a secretive internet group that releases puzzles, and there's a theory that they have these puzzles to recruit very smart people, and it's been going on since 2012. And as far as I know, this file is a part of the puzzle that's been going on since 2014. No one has solved the puzzle yet because they haven't announced any new puzzles. Usually they do. So this deserves a quick look at. So I open this up, and there's a couple things that are a dead giveaway pertaining to certain information. Again, that's not on the wiki. I've loaded it up into something called Isotope RX7, and I'm looking at the spectrum, the frequency spectrum of the track as a whole. So I'm looking at this in the frequency domain, and I can adjust the scale of this. So the darker parts are not a whole lot of amplitude, and the kind of magenta parts are kind of maximum amplitude. And we can adjust the sensitivity of that. And one of the dead giveaways is that this is not the, it is. Here, let me get that hand over there. This is not the original composition. The original composition does not include the cicadas buzzing at the beginning. The reason why I know this is because of this fancy line right here that is consistent throughout the entire track. This is a frequency peak that is a little bit above 15K, and I'll show you what this is in the Ableton Live section of this video. So we'll look at this right here. And this is the beginning of the track here with the cicadas. Very uniform noise. And that's all well and good. But as soon as we get into the track with the acoustic guitar and the acoustic elements, you'll notice we get that. And this frequency is consistent throughout the entire track. This right here is this line that we're looking at throughout the entire track. So the cicada sound is not part of the original composition. So what else does this line tell us? What is this line? Well, I knew what this line was right away, because what it is it's noise from CRT monitors, which are those big boxy things. For reference, we have LCDs, which don't have a cathode ray that operates really quickly and stuff like that. We have LCDs which don't necessarily produce a whole lot of noise. So this will date the recording to that time period. But I'll take it a step further. So we were using, I guess, CRTs from 80s all the way up until 2003, something like that. So this will date it then. I believe that this composition was originally recorded onto tape, because there is a cassette tape warble near the end, and I'll give you a listen to what that is right there. Right, so that would be the cassette tape kind of degradation over the years. That is a nasty sound. and it only occurs, right? It doesn't occur in the digital realm. This is with tape. And that's how people used to record music onto tape. So that will date it back a little bit further. I have the general theory that this was recorded in the 70s because of the popular usage of tapes, reverse effects, which I'll show you, and um, all the things that were popular in the 70s. That was then transferred onto cassette tape, right? And then it was archived from cassette to computer with the CRT sometime in the 90s. And the reason why I think it's in the 90s is because I'm just opening up the properties here, because it is at 192 kilobits per second. So it's not 320. So we have to kind of go into the mind of who kind of made this. We're looking at kind of how expensive hard drive space was back then. So a lot of the songs, late 90s, this was like high fidelity. 192 is essentially CD quality. So that's why it's at 192. Also, a lot of, I guess, like recording software from like the input jack or whatever was going on. Its maximum bit rate would be 192. Simply because, it just kind of wasn't supported and people didn't really need that. It's like, why do you need that? That's overkill. Now, like, we're, FLAC and all that fun stuff, like wave, uncompressed audio, like 24, the bit depth is 24 bits. Really insane. So I believe that, this was originally, 192. I would think that this was recorded in a home studio, because no one really, it was very well known that CRT monitors would cause this really gnarly, like, high frequency sort of thing that people could hear. It's really not pleasant. So these computers would be kind of isolated. They'd be far enough away from the recording equipment, so that you wouldn't get that noise. And then we moved on from CRTs, and we have really good high quality audio. So that is my general theory. So another giveaway is this right here. So there's a frequency here that I'm kind of hovering over. We're looking at the AX. Right, it says 59. Right, that is continuous. It's not a harmonic related to anything else. It is continuous. So what does that tell us? That is a frequency very close to 60. I think there's some we have to take into account tape speed and stuff like that. Could be faster, could be slower. Who knows what's going on, calibration, all that fun stuff. But that is 60 hertz, and that tells me that this was recorded in North America because of the mains frequency that is coming out of the wall, not in Europe. So that will narrow it down as well. And there's no other kind of, I guess, frequency that would dictate otherwise. And this is something that we have to deal with. We can get, 60 hertz hum and the harmonics of that frequency in guitar, like electric guitars. We hear that a lot. And the recording device picked this up as well. And this gets into like audio friends. You can tell where something is from. And it gets even more bananas when there's a file or a piece of audio where they have this frequency. They can actually plot this frequency and its deviation. It'll deviate depending on load in the area, other lights coming on. It's not continuous. It's not usually spot on 60 hertz. They can actually take this information and then compare it to history of different areas, how that frequency will deviate, and they can actually kind of pinpoint a location as to where it was recorded. I can't do that here, but that gets into the world of audio forensics, and that's a little bit nuts. So there's that. But yeah, definitely recorded in North America. And I will date the original recording to the 70s or maybe 80s, but definitely, student, young person. The guitar is kind of spotty, but this is kind of what music would kind of sound like during that time, especially like the low end roll off and things like that. That's indicative of tape. So the original, recorded to tape using tape loops, things like that, and then transferred to a digital medium when CRT monitors were around, hence that noise there. Good thing we don't see that anymore, especially hearing it right now because LED styles. So there we go. Let's look at, I guess, yeah, let's look at kind of the techniques of what was going on. This was actually, I'm going to take that back. It's cleverly recorded. A lot of things are recorded, I guess, stereo. And there's a lot of reverse tape kind of hints that are very well spot on. Let's actually just take a listen to it. So one thing I like to do is I like to kind of, I guess, I'll flip the polarity of the left or the right and then hit mono. And what this does is this strips out particular things. We'll listen to it. And what it does is it'll bump the volume down a little bit. Right, so this will accentuate the stereo material. Okay, what is that? That is, I'll duplicate it. So that's just another guitar part reversed. It's not anything really fancy. It's in a different key, and it's kind of weird. So this is the reversed audio. Now you can hear that. That part has the reversed acoustic guitar, which was popular back then because it's just a weird kind of sound. And then we got some really neat kind of reversed guitar, just plucks, which have a long kind of, they're sustained, and what that is that reversed psychedelic thing. Right, so there's that. And I'm going to stop kind of listening to it weird. I'll just leave it at mono. So the kick is, it's kind of weird. I don't think it's an actual, it sounds heavily edited. It lacks like rhythm cohesion, but it does sound pretty cool. I'm thinking this was recorded with just one person. um, kind of a music nerd, someone in kind of college, I guess. And I say that because there's speculation that the group's origins is from California and is from, I guess, the kind of emergence of the internet. I'm not well versed to kind of explain it in this video, but the origins are speculated to be from then, which would coincide with um, someone from that generation being into this music, kind of starting this group on in California, and this was kind of their music, and they included it. And this piece of music is really interesting because it's just kind of odd. And I'm gonna open it up with VLC. So this is VLC. We'll go into Tools, and we will look at the media information here. Go into the metadata, and there is the parable. There's a number. This number has yet to be coincided with anything. This is, like the Instar tunneling to the surface. We must shed our own circumferences, find the divinity within, and emerge. And not a whole lot else has come about this piece of audio. And it's very deliberate, and it, something that was backed up and then sat on a server, and then they, incorporated it into a puzzle. They added the cicada in there. It's not just some random file. They added the cicada sounds in there. So who knows what's going on? That's essentially my finding. And I've looked at this here with the 60 hertz frequency. There's been no splicing whatsoever, except the beginning part, and the fades are from the original kind of recording, fade in and fade out. And I know that, just because that 15K CRT frequency remains constant as it's fading out. So there's that right there. That's an important kind of clue, really. And you might be asking, why are things cut off above this? That's essentially there's still some information there, but that's just how the MP3 works. Something I would love to look at is, if you can tell what version of the MP3 encoder this came from, just looking at how it is working with the audio. I feel that's could offer an important clue. Then we can kind of really narrow it down when this was archived to a date range. But yeah, you'll see some stuff kind of pop above here. That's just essentially how the MP3 encoder works. Just because there's not a whole lot of information here, it can kind of, even out the, the, the frequency content up here, just because there's more space. And that way, you get more efficiency in the encoding process. So that's why that is doing that. Like, the higher frequencies aren't as, I guess, important. But I don't know. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if these kind of lines here, wouldn't that be weird if this was kind of, I guess, the key to the puzzle, like certain sections relating to that number, the parable number, and this could be like, I guess, dots and code, Morse code, not Morse code, but like data, like hex data maybe, I don't know. Like, what if like all the stuff above that frequency was all that? I don't know. Anyway, hope that was interesting to you. It sure was interesting to me. Maybe in a couple years we'll look back and be like, wow, it took us so long to figure it out, or it turns out it was just promotion for a movie. I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.